It's really awesome to have the goals. It's really awesome to have the why. It's really awesome to reevaluate your goals after you figure out your why and after you get like pretty deep with yourself. But the actuality of everything is that if you're not doing the behind the scenes things and actually working your business, you're never going to move forward. Okay. So it's absolutely imperative that you do have a CRM, because you'll do a number of posts throughout your, business with Soul, and some of those posts will do really well. And, we have all of these things to plug into as a team, but those are just like things that are a sometimes thing. Okay. And so if you're not doing your daily work, meaning doing your CRM and starting to form relationships behind the scenes, then it's going to be really easy to be discouraged. Like if you do a post about the happy hour that's coming up and nobody comments on it, then you're kind of already like, oh, well, that's how it goes. I guess I'm not going to do this business. So it's really easy to talk yourself out of a business if your post doesn't do really well. But in actuality, like a post doing really well, and even if you do a really good job in a happy hour, like that's going to happen sometime. Okay, so it's really, really important to realize that we need to do this all of the time. I also want to do this is kind of like a surprise. I didn't even talk to Kristen about it, but I was thinking that since it is that important, that we should be doing probably a CRM challenge this month. I know that Kat's team, I know that they are actually doing one, so that's awesome that they already took that upon themselves to be checking in and to make sure that they're doing that. It means that they're doing it at least 5 times a week, which I 100% agree. I don't think anybody has to commit to doing something 7 days a week, right? If you were working, well, if you had your own business anywhere else that you had to go to it, you would be working it 7 days a week. I'm just going to say that. But it is important that you're doing it at least 5 days a week. And that time should be uninterrupted time. And so sometimes that, oh, I love that salt lamp, girl. Sometimes that means that you're going to have to, like for me today, I have to do it. So this call will be over at 10 o'clock my time. I still have to move volume in my organization. So I will be up until 11 or 11:30 to make sure that I get it done. I'm not saying that you should get sleep deprived or any of those things, but I am saying that you do have to sit down and do your schedule and do your calendar, and you have to plan it or it will not happen. Trust me, it happens, because I went through the summer with thinking that I was just going to be on top of my conversations because I have so many conversations all of the time. And then when I go back to start logging stuff, I'm like, oh, shoot. Oh, I lost that. Oh, I forgot about that person. So it's very easy to lose people. Okay. So that's why it's so important too. But anyways, for those of you that are super new, I was going to have Tristan, I cannot talk right now, Kristen talk about the compensation plan just a little bit. She does a really good job at going over that kind of stuff. And then I was going to go over the full binder, but I do think that it's really important that you go over the binder with your upline. So rather than taking the full time to kind of go over that right now, we're just going to hit some of those key parts. And then we will do a power half hour. So that will just basically, it'll show you, I'll kind of walk you through it, walk you through how are some very easy ways to do that and to stay on task, and to maximize the time that you do spend working as best as you can. So.
Is that my cue to hop on?
Yeah, sorry. I was like, where is the mute and unmute button? Take it away. Take it away.
Oh, okay. So I actually have it up because I have been staring at it all weekend as I'm looking at our organization, and I still have to look at it all the time. So, for those of you who are not familiar really at all with our compensation plan, it can be a little overwhelming, right? So the best thing that I say to do is, let me move you guys, is actually to just completely zoom in, because really the only thing you really need to know about is the beginning stages. So let's just look over here on the left-hand side, just the red area, just to get you guys familiar with some of the lingo. So anyone who signs up is a special automatically.
Things.
Hold on, let me mute Sarah. Sarah? Oh, wait, I can't mute her. Steph, can you mute her? Where's Steph? Did she go away? Oh, there you are, Steph. Hi,
I'm here.
I can't. I put everybody on the bottom of my screen, so it looks like I'm like looking at my legs, but it's just because, yeah, anyway. Okay, so when you guys sign up, everybody's a specialist. The first rank is called 1K Soul Pro. And so basically what 1K Soul Pro means is your order and anything below you that adds up to 1K would make you a 1K Soul Pro. That's the first rank in Soul. So, you know, you hear Steph and I talk a lot that we really try to make it our goal, if at all possible, your first month when you sign up, we try to make sure you at least hit 1K. You know, get you started on the right foot, because as you guys know or may not know, all of the volume in our organizations is movable. So it's always our goal to make sure that, if possible, everybody hits 1K their first month. The second rank is just 2K. And all that means is that your own order and everyone beneath you adds up to 2,000. When the ranks start getting a little bit more confusing is when you start seeing these dots over here, okay? So you got to look at the key. So to be a 3K Soul Pro, that means you have to have $3,000 in volume, but $1,000 of it has to come from a specialist who is a 1K. So that's what this blue dot is. The really cool thing that I appreciate about Soul is it does not matter if it's your specialist or Steph's specialist or another teammate or whatever, as long as there's someone in your organization who is a 1K, who is a Soul Pro, and you have $3,000 in volume, then you'll be considered a 3K Soul Pro. And then the compensation plan goes from there. As you can see, for 5K, you need $5,000 in organizational volume, and 2,000 of it has to come from 2 different 1Ks, and so on and so forth. So really, you always want to kind of start from the bottom and work your way up. So, you know, you might have $10,000 in volume, but what happens if you only have 3 Soul Pros? That would mean you actually are only a 7K in rank. So like you have to look at both of the categories. You not only have to have the volume, but you have to have the requirements once you hit that 3K point, okay? So those are the basic ranks. Now if we scoot over here a little bit, let me see, my touch screen is not working, so this is getting kind of complicated here because it's being a little bit silly. I want to show you guys the SMART plan. So this is probably one of the most confusing but coolest part about our compensation plan. So when you sign up, it's just you, right? And then your customers. So that's your first level. As you start to build your team, it's you, it's your customers, it might be another specialist, and then the specialist has customers, and maybe one of their customers becomes a specialist, and you start building levels, right? So in a traditional company, what they do is they'll pay you a certain number of levels deep, and they'll pay you the same amount. So the company that I came from, they would pay you 7 levels deep, and we got paid the same amount on each level. And it stopped at level 7, I believe, right, Steph? 7? I believe it stopped at level.
I was just going to say, I don't even know, actually.
I think it stopped at level 7, but they paid us the same on all the levels. So whether it was your biggest level, your smallest level, your in-between level, you got paid the same. Other companies, what they do, so if your organization is somewhat like a triangle, it is not a pyramid scheme, but it is shaped like a triangle. Some companies, what they do is they pay you the highest amount at the top, and then you make less and less and less as it goes on. Why? Because as it goes on, it gets bigger. And so they don't want to pay you the most down here because that's going to cost them a lot of money. They're going to pay you the most up here. The cool thing about Soul is it doesn't do either of those, which is what makes Soul so unique. Actually, what they do is they look at your organizations on a monthly basis, and they actually will sit and figure out which one of your levels has the most volume. And so that's where this SMART plan comes in. So let's just say you had 7 levels, since we have 7 levels represented here. Let's say that level 5 was your highest level. They're going to pay you 10% of anything that falls on that level. Now let's say maybe level 7 was your second highest. They're going to pay you 7%, and so on and so forth. So basically what they're doing is they're maximizing how much you make, okay? So now let's go back over here. So we go to the yellow where it says levels paid. So when you first sign up, you really only have 1 level, right? It's just you and maybe you have a couple customers. So you're really only getting paid on 1 level. Once you become a 1K, you have yourself, your customers, and you may or may not have a specialist in there. So you get paid 2 levels deep, all right? You'll notice that when you go all the way up to the higher ranks, you get paid 7 levels. Now, does that mean that it stops after the 7th level? It does not. Soul actually has an infinity plan, which basically means that even after you get more than 7 levels deep, you're still going to get a percentage of your infinity of your future levels. And let me tell you, those levels can build really fast, especially the way that we work our business where we help people so much. You know, we do a lot of stacking, putting this person on top of this person, and it'll help them both, or moving this organization or this volume all the way down to the bottom, and it helps everybody. So you would be surprised how quickly you do develop a 7th level. But once you get into the higher ranks, you start getting paid beyond the 7th level, which I will tell you guys, unheard of. There aren't too many companies, at least none that I know of, so I don't want to say for sure, that pay you beyond, who pay you infinity. That means like someone, let's just use Lydia Ferrantino, for example, because she's got a huge organization. She could have 50, 60 levels. I have no idea, and she's getting paid on all of them. That's pretty cool. We also have something that's called the high 5, okay? So once you hit 2K Soul Pro, this is when these high 5 percentages start to kick in. So what you want to do is, let's imagine you're a 2K. You're going to take that 2% extra and you're going to add it to all of these numbers here. So in other words, on your highest level, instead of making 10%, you're going to make 12. Instead of making 7%, you're going to make 9. Instead of making 5, you're going to make 7, so on and so forth. And that high 5 goes up to 5%. So once you get up to these higher ranks, like 25K and above, instead of making 10% on your highest level, you're actually making 15%, 12%, 10%, 9%, 9%, 8%, and 7%. So that's pretty cool. The mentor match, I'm going to be flat out honest with you guys. I know I get paid on it every month, and I know I get a couple $100 from it, but that is like the one section it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. And so don't even worry about it. Like if you get paid on it, you're just like, yeah, that's some money. That's cool. But the mentor match program starts at 5K. So that's when you'll start seeing that in your check. Okay. So let's go down here. So here's some other quick little, first of all, the Soul Quick bonus. First-time customers, orders over $100, you get a quick bonus, which means you get paid that next Thursday. It'll get pushed out on Friday. It usually hits your bank account, depending on your bank, Monday or Tuesday. So literally, it is a quick bonus. A few things to keep in mind. It has to be over $100, first-time customer, which is why when we're talking about those gift cards, we encourage you guys, don't give anyone a gift card unless their order's over $125. We're saying that to protect you guys, because if it drops under $100, it's going to get thrown into your monthly, which is fine, but we want to make sure that you make that 30% commission on that first time order. First time signups for specialists, it's $100 sign up plus $100 in products, and you make 45% on that. So that's a huge bonus right there. Soul Rewards, I think you guys all pretty much know about the rewards. It's basically kind of like Kohl's Cash. Depending on how much you purchase, you get a percentage of that back, dollar for dollar. If the customer or you has it on auto ship, you get an extra 5%. So that's a really, really big deal. HD Override. Anybody want to know about HD Override? Any curious folks out there? Steph is saying yes. Tell them about HD Override. Yes, Steph? Let me look down at my screen. Okay, so the HD Override program was not something that we really took advantage of as a team. Our team, for the most part, is very much, we work on social media and things like that. I've started taking advantage of HD Override in the last 3 to 4 months, and I love it. So basically what the HD Override program is you're basically buying in bulk. So it really, I mean, I know it starts at $500, but really to make it financially smart, you want to buy at least $1,000 worth of stuff, which I know a lot of you guys are like, ooh, $1,000 worth of stuff. So what ends up happening when you purchase $1,000 is you get 28% in a product reimbursement. That 28% you do not pay income tax on, which is huge. So we get 1099s at the end of the year, and that 28% that you get back from the HD Override, you won't have to pay income taxes on that. So it's like almost making an extra 25% in a way, because you don't have to pay taxes on it. The advantage to HD Override is that you have it on hand. And what I have found with customers is I would always have customers who would kind of wait and order more things at once because of the $10 shipping. Like, the shipping is expensive. And so what they would do is they would wait, and they'd be like, okay, I run out of Vertizymes Clear and Renew, but I'm going to wait until I need 5 things, and then I'm going to order to make the shipping worthwhile. What I have found since doing HD Override for my local customers is I'm getting a lot more frequent orders. People calling me being like, I'm out of Clear, can I stop at your house? Or my kid's not sleeping through the night, do you have any of those Calm bars? Or I'm at the softball field and so-and-so is sick, do you have some Cinnamon? Or do you have this, or do you have that? And I'm selling a lot more things more frequently than people were waiting, and then they were ordering bigger amounts because of the shipping. On top of that, you can choose how much you want to sell your products for. For me, since literally I'm either leaving it on my front porch or I'm bringing it to the carpool pickup line, I don't really upcharge it because I'm already making 28%. For me, I just round it up. So if something's $41.95, it's $42. So I just round it up, and that, I mean, it's just been a great program for me. The first month I ordered $1,000, I immediately sold out, and ordered an additional 500, and it does go fast. When you're just talking to people at the grocery store, at softball or whatever, and to have it right then and there, especially for those of you guys who do vendor shows. Doing a vendor show with the products there, people go to the vendor show with money in their pockets. They're ready to purchase, right? And yes, do we want to do the health assessment? Absolutely. Yes, do we want to friend request them on Facebook, get their information, get their email address and all that. But what power, how powerful would it be to have somebody take the health assessment, find out what products they need, and send them home with the products immediately? So that's another way that you can take advantage of the HD Override. One thing that I will throw out there, the first time I did it, I was very nervous about spending $1,000 because $1,000 is a lot of money. So what I did was I contacted my local customers and I said, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing. You won't have to pay shipping or taxes, which for an average order saving them almost $20 between, $6 to $8 in taxes plus the $10 shipping. That's a big, thing right there. And so what I had them do before I did my first HG override is those who knew they were going to purchase, they paid me ahead of time. Now, I had a good relationship with them where I could do that. And so that's just an idea for you guys. Like if you have local customers, be like, hey, I'm going to be ordering on October 1st. I'm going to order HG override. Let me know what you want. And I had them pay me ahead of time. Then I ordered it. And so it wasn't such a huge financial burden for me. So sorry if I went too long about the HG override. But that's the basics. Steph, anything I missed?
No, and I just love the whole part about sharing that now, because the thing is, that's why we kind of say integrative marketing, right? Is because there are so many different ways. Oh, hold on. Can you unshare?
Yeah.
There's so many ways that we can build our business. And so, like having the CRM, for instance, you guys, it is so necessary, especially if you plan to work your business online. However, the CRM, it's 30 days free, right? That does not mean that in 30 days, you're all of a sudden going to have 10 new customers. It's literally, as I posted the other day, it's like a farmer planting seeds. It's going to take time. Kristen and I have people that have been watching us for 5 years from our previous company come over here that are just now like, oh my gosh, I've literally been watching you for 5 years, right? So while your CRM is going and you're building up those relationships, while you're doing posting on here, when Kristen first started, it was awesome. Like she's the only person I know on the planet in any business that like signs up her entire state. Like it's so awesome because, that's what she was doing. She was like, oh, I'm just in the school pickup line, handing out samples, like she just was out there, like in public, like handing out samples and, whatever.
You guys, like for real, like the cars would be lined up for school and I'd be there with my little baggie finding people's cars and taking $5 for 5 things. And I would buy the 100 packs and I would have like 20 different moms from the school and I'd be walking through the carpool line like, oh, here's your Cinnamate. But it turned into a ton of customers.
Yes. And I'm so glad that you just said that because I think that that's another thing that we should do. So what's kind of cool about, so as a specialist, you obviously want to be on the auto ship, right? So some people don't sign up to the middle or the end of the month. And, it's great to have your stuff set up for the first of the month, just because then you can kind of always see where you are right away in the month. Meaning like once you start building a team and organization and stuff like that, you'll kind of see how that goes. Now, what we did, Kristen and myself and Amanda and Amy, we had all kind of signed up at the end of the month or the middle of the month or whatever. And so we decided to do a 5 for $5 challenge or a 5 for $7 challenge or whatever you want to call it. And so I think if you guys are up for doing that, we could do it either like the second week if everybody wanted to kind of put in an order. So we literally just bought 100 pack of Cinnamate and we put that for the first of the month. Okay. Then you post about it like on a Sunday or Monday night and you're like, hey, feeling drained. Again, Kristen made up all of those awesome posts about that. We could make up a post that looks good. I don't really love when we all post the same exact post on the same exact day because a lot of us do, you do start to have people, especially from Find Your Soul, they might friend some of us and, whatever. Although we all have totally different markets, we kind of want to, stagger it a little bit. Or this is something that you could be while you're doing your CRM or you're seeing people posting on their page about how tired they are and, whatever. Again, there's a bunch of different ways that you could go about this, but doing like a 5 for $7 challenge is awesome because you buy 100 pack of Cinnamate and you buy these little tiny things off of Amazon. And then you just send them 5 days worth, or you could do 7 for $10. You could do a week for $10. You would just put them right in here and then like print off the Cinemate product info sheets. I always really suggest Cinemate just because not everybody loves the taste of Vital. And so if they buy a couple samples of Vital, it's going to be in their mind that they hate it. At least with Cinemate, you can have them like, oh, we'll try it hot or whatever. 95% of the people just like Cinemate anyways, and they're going to see a huge difference. Sorry, I'm just like talking with my little pad thing. But that's what we did. And Kristen literally sat there and handed them out. Same thing with vendor shows. When you start with vendor shows, just because nobody knows what Soul is, some people are ready to buy, but some people are like, what's this thing? I've never heard of this. So if you have little packets, people get those little nylon things or the little just like Ziploc baggies, and they, do samples in there. Like those are all such huge ways to, yes, Dana, yes, look at how beautiful. It's perfect. You can do either one of each 4 or whatever the case is. So anyways, that's something that we can do also. We can take a poll to see if you guys want to do that. Hey, pretty girl. But that's the thing. It's either like having the 100 pack to be able to hand out samples, or once you get a little further into your business, doing the HD override, because I kind of shot myself in the foot in the beginning. I was like, who wants to do a detox challenge? And so I had everybody just order Omnitox, and that was like the silliest thing ever, because first of all, you're going to detox super hard. But second of all, for the people that it did work for, they spent the $29 plus $10 shipping. I don't know how I got them to do that, but I had like 45 people that did this. And then either they hated it or they actually liked it, and then they would place a huge order. Well, you don't get commission off the $29, right? So you'd miss out on the commission, which is good because they still ended up to be your customers overall. But that's kind of why it's so nice to have product on hand, especially for your local people, because a lot of people they think it's going to be auto ship no matter what. They think it's just another one of those things. And so if you're able to have Clear, for instance, on hand for someone that's got severe allergies like me, that's huge, where you're like, hey, here, it's $32 or whatever, just try this. And, then they're going to be like, oh, dang, wow, I haven't had to go on a steroid or take a medication or, so all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Top sellers, Clear, Vital, Cinemate, probiotic, omegas. Those are things that people just tend to know that they should take. They don't even know why. But so when you can just start to kind of have some of those things on hand, that's kind of cool. So I'm glad you brought that up. So we can do that also. What was I going to say? I was going to say something else. You said something else really awesome that I had written down, but, for those of you who don't know, the Find Your Soul group that we have for everybody that has 3,300 people, we started that group with 4 of us by doing a 5 for $5 challenge. So that's how powerful it is. There was 4 of us that did 5 for $5 off of 100 packs of Cinemate, and there's now 3,300 people in that group. So it really does speak for itself, you guys. Soul is actually a very organic business. If you can just like get it in people's hands, it speaks for itself, which is super cool. Does anybody have any questions? I'm trying to, yeah, we didn't type up an info card, but I just literally printed out the product info sheet. So either the 5 key benefits or, whatever. But you could have cute little things made up on Vistaprint too, but it's already kind of there. So that's nice. Or just send it to them. And I just realized like my ears are sunburnt, you guys. It was so nice here this week. And I'm like, look at how burnt I am. Okay, cool. Any other questions? Who, by a show of hands, and half of you aren't actually on the screen, where are you at? Don't be hiding. If you were in a board meeting right now, you would not be able to turn off your screen. Let me know by a show of hands who signed up. Kathy's like, I'm here. Who actually signed up for the CRM? Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so not everybody has signed up, so I'm not going to do a full power half hour. What I'm going to do is just quickly, yes, Mignon, you already have it. What I'm going to do is just give you a basic rundown of like what does that mean in case you didn't watch the videos or whatever. The very first thing, and so for me, I'm kind of usually a day behind, if that makes sense, just because I find it much easier. Like I have all of my conversations one day, and then the next morning I'll log in and I'll track all of those. So to me, it's just how my mind works. It seems like it goes much faster that way. You don't have to do it that way. Kristen only has conversation when she's on her computer in front of her CRM. Okay, so for me, I need to be better about not always just being available to like answer questions, because then that's what happens. But like for Kristen, she gets up every morning and it's like the first thing she does. She sits down, she gets on her computer, she pulls up her CRM and she logs all of her stuff. And then the next morning she'll do the same thing. Either way is fine. What is one of the easiest ways to start your conversations is every single day Facebook tells you whose birthday it is. And so you should always go to those people. You can still just go to their page and see if there's anything that you can like or love or put the funny emoji on. It's always, that's what's huge, you guys. We are different where we don't just send out messages being like, hey, I'm doing this new thing and do you want to try these adaptogens? And blah, 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 blah. No, like we want to talk about them, right? So we want to go to their page. But with the birthday thing, usually I just, it's something that I do very fast. It's something that if you just have 5 minutes of time where you're not necessarily like working or whatever, at least you can go through all of the people that have birthdays and either send them a private message or I'm a voice messenger. So in my, if it's somebody that I really don't know at all, I'll just be like, oh my gosh, hey, happy birthday. I hope you have a great day. And then always end it with a question. Are you doing anything fun for your birthday? Do you have big plans? Whatever that is. If it's somebody that go ahead and send them a message, or like sometimes I'll sing to them and be like, I have a terrible voice, but I hope you enjoyed your birthday song, just like whatever. That's just a huge way to get, conversations going. Then your CRM will basically, you'll be able to set on either one that you choose. You'll be able to set what like your number is for the day. So I don't know, Kristen does like 100 a day or something crazy. She's lowered it now. It used to be 50 and I'm like, holy moly. But although I probably do have 50 conversations most days. But I set mine for like 20 and then you can set the different things for like, these are prospects, these are customers. And of course, when you're brand new, you don't have customers or specialists, right? So you can set those to 0. I'm a stickler, like mine has to be at 100%. It's just, for me, that's just how it is. Like, again, if you were going to work, you can't normally be like, oh, well, I did 68% of my job today. Is that cool? Like, now can I go home? Or like, what are your thoughts there? So for me, it needs to say 100%. Otherwise I'm not done. Otherwise I stay up until it's at 100%. People will always say, well, I got all of it done except for the ads, or I did most of it except for the invites. And it's like, well, those are the 2 that are going to get you the most business. So we have to make sure we're doing that. As far as the ads go, I know for a lot of people, it kind of freaks you out to be like, oh my gosh, like, I kind of want my Facebook to be private or whatever. So what I suggest is that you guys go into groups that like resonate with you. So like for me, I'm, adding new friends on your Facebook. I'm considered a crunchy mom, right? I'm like totally Nazi. I make my own applesauce. I don't, whatever, give certain snacks and stuff like that. So like I'm a crunchy mom. So I belong to a bunch of different groups. What's nice about that is they're always asking for advice, always. Or they're always like, hey, what are you guys using instead of taking amoxicillin, or hey, right? So that's kind of an open invitation to be like, oh my gosh, we use these amazing adaptogens. Now I don't say like, oh, hey, I work for a company and I sell these things. No, I'm like, oh my gosh, my family started using these amazing adaptogens, la, 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 la. You can kind of really create relationships that way and start conversations that way. And then usually what happens is they're like, oh, really? Tell me more. And I'm like, I'm going to send you a friend request so I can send you a message. And so that's a really good way of adding people. Another good way of adding people is like going down your spouse's friends list. Like, honestly, when I started, I was adding like all of the people that Chad went to high school with or whatever. Also, a lot of times when you're doing like bigger posts, when you're doing like what we call a call to action post, where you're posting about soul and then you're ending it with a question of like, are you interested in hearing more? Comment below or message me or whatever that looks like, and we'll kind of help you further with that. Kristen did a lot of those example posts already. But those kinds of things, and then even just tagging your spouse in it, because then people that are like friends of them, they'll kind of see it. And then Facebook always just gives you like suggested friends. They're like, hey, you have 28 people in common with this person. I would be careful of like, if it's 28 people that are in Soul Legacy, I wouldn't necessarily add them because you don't want to be prospecting people that might be talking to somebody else on our team. But you kind of get the idea there. And then as far as invites, that's another thing. I'll accept men. I know it's like, oh, who are you? The invites also, that does not mean that you have to be like, hey, I'm inviting you to buy a product from me. What can an invite be? An invite can be, to me, I feel like an invite can be, you're now in the point of a conversation where you are ready to say like, hey, I think it would be beneficial if you took this detailed health assessment. So like having somebody take a health assessment, in my opinion, I count that as an invite. Inviting somebody to our happy hours, that's an invite. Inviting somebody to join Find Your Soul, that's a huge invite for me, you guys, because that's 3,300 third-party verifications for you. That's money. Get people in there. And then when you're talking to them, finding out, even when people are asking you what you're doing, you literally immediately, you want to turn it to them. You want to be like, what are some things that you're hoping to address? I would love to be able to give you some information, but I really want to hear about you. So then getting them into Find Your Soul, taking that health assessment, telling them that they can utilize the search tab, because sometimes they might tell you some of the things that are going on, but they're not necessarily always going to just come right up front and be like, oh, and then I have this and this and this and this. So, anyone can join, or anyone, you can put anybody in there that you're talking to. It is protected per se, so we do try to watch and monitor that. Sometimes people just want to join groups. But yeah, you can put anybody, that's there for the team. That's our team's thing. But anyways, telling them that they can use the search tab to search whatever, or if you know that like thyroid and anxiety and this and this and this is an issue for them, then you can go and find a bazillion posts on all of these different situations and tag them in it. So, that can be counted as an invite. Our team-wide happy hour, getting to a point in a conversation where you're like, hey, we're actually doing this informational, forum. If you're interested, la, 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 I can put you in there. So an invite doesn't have to just be like, hey, do you want to buy products? There's like a bunch of different ways that you can do an invite. Those are very, very important. I suggest at least trying to get 2 a day, right? So anything else? I was going to do like a whole thing, but I think the most important is just to know that we really, really want to focus on forming relationships first. So when somebody's name comes up and you want to be like, I'm like, hey, you want to go to their page, you want to like check out what's going on, you know what I'm saying, you want to Look through their pictures. Some people haven't posted in 3 months. And so then you're like, oh, a lot of people want to just skip that person, but don't just skip them. You never know. Like literally just saying like, oh my gosh, hey, Dana, even if you don't know a person, even if you're like, hey, I'm not even sure how we became friends. If it's somebody that you like added or they added you a really long time ago, there's nothing wrong with saying like, you know what, I'm not even really sure how we became Facebook friends, but I'm really trying to be intentional of like introducing myself, you know, or whatever. I mean, that will blow people away. They'll actually be like, oh, okay, that's cool, you know? So just trying to find a way to start a conversation, seeing the pictures that they're posting, commenting on those. Usually that's how I start a conversation is I've gone down their thread and I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, I didn't realize, Kristen, that you had a son. Oh my gosh, he's just 2 weeks, you know, younger than my son. Like just whatever, any way that you can make it about them, they're going to be like, oh. Sometimes are they going to be like, okay, who's this person and what are they trying to sell? Yes, maybe. But if you continue to have that conversation and relationship and just make sure you're tracking it, so you're checking back in with them, you know, a month later, whatever that is. I always suggest to kind of on both forums, you can use like a custom date. You know, if you're having like a pretty good conversation with somebody, you probably want to follow back up within a week or two. Sometimes you want to follow up if you've talked to them about soul, or even if you're just kind of getting to that point where they're telling you things that, you know, might be bothering them, but you haven't quite made it to the soul conversation. Then those people you want to follow up within like 4 days. Let me see what everyone's saying. I let them load up, only respond. Oh yeah, only respond on there. Any questions or anything?
I have a question, Steph.
Yeah.
So I have had someone recently do a health assessment through I did a thing on weight loss versus inflammation. And I think I copied it from someone on here.
Oh,
and I copied and pasted and put it on my journey page.
Yeah.
But it really brought some interest. And so it turns out she's self-diagnosed herself with brachioradial pruritus. So it's basically, it can be caused from nerve. It could be spine. It could be allergies. It could be overexposure to sun. Long story short, she's been going to the chiropractor and she's asking me questions about it. So I did put it in Soul Legacy, and I would like to talk to a naturopath too, unless someone's heard of this. I had to look it up. I wasn't even quite sure what it was. So,
Mignon.
And derms are saying use some Dove. I'm like, oh, no.
It's
so
in a certain area. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's like brachioradial in the arm. She itches really, really bad, uncontrollably. She took herself off of gluten and dairy, but then put herself back on dairy. She got rid of acne while she was off of dairy, but now she brought it back in. And so I know that she's overweight. And she just told me tonight that she's on Thrive. And that's what I was trying to get to that point. How do I asked her how long she's been on it. I've actually got a friend whose husband is on it, and he is type 1 diabetic. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what to tell people.
Put her in a chat with me.
Has she been tested? Has she been tested for like parasites and different things? I mean,
she's had it for 10 to 15 years. Mm-hmm. She's overweight. Her daughter is obese and like in the 16, 17-ish range. Mm-hmm.
So is she giving her daughter Thrive too?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't want to go out there and say, stop it, because I don't want to come off like that, because then it sounds like I just want to push my stuff, you know. I just,
Oh, you're talking about Thrive, that other weight loss stuff, not
yeah.
our product.
No, Thrive, the company.
Ah,
You can
Yes.
put her in a chat with me though too.
excuse me.
It's just in her one arm.
I think it's just one arm. Like, she has uncontrollable itching.
I mean, that can also just be like a tick, or that could be where her patch goes.
Well, I can tell you,
Yeah.
I had a lady who came to me, and she'd been seeing another naturopath here, and she would get this thing where all of a sudden these whelps would come up, and it looked like Wolverine had and it would come up, and it would go away. And it would do that on her leg or arm, across her chest, sometimes on her face. It was just this coming and going thing. And not until we worked on the bowel did it go away. And she did really great. And you're saying the lady is overweight. Do you know anything about her bowel habits? I mean, some people think they're regular if they go every other day, you know.
Right. She did a health assessment. I didn't get very far yet, because I literally go into a long novel. She goes into a long novel about, you know, I wanted to ask her about the blood panel. Has she done one? What is everything saying? What is everyone saying? I wanted, because her assessment looked like digestion and stress, because Renew was like maybe fourth in, and then it was all the digestion stuff. So I'm like, oh, so it looks like you've got some digestion and stress issues. So because I'm fairly new.
Well, that's the thing. It's definitely gut. I mean,
Yeah. So, right. And she's like, and she responded from the weight and inflammation post. So I know that's been a concern of hers. She's smaller on the top, but she carries everything on the bottom. And
Hormones too.
Yep.
Hormones too.
And her daughter, I can see inflammation all over her body, because she's thick everywhere. It's not just where a significant area or specific area that her daughter's carrying it. It's everywhere she's carrying it. So, and it's a lot. So, and I know her mother, she was kind of built the same way, a little heavier on the waist, but smaller on the top. So I get that some of it's just inherited, where fat is made there. But I know she's been pretty, you know, on the side of heavy for quite a while, many years. So I wanted to get into the thing.
Yeah, you can put her in a chat with me.
Yeah.
But also 90% of, like, that's our kind of a thing on our team is weight loss versus inflammation, because like Dana too, Dana's off 17 medications. 17. Wow. Like, and just to see that dramatic reduction of inflammation, like once people realize, like, it's not that you need to lose weight. You have like red flags, bombs going off. Hey, Deacon, like all over your body. But it sounds like she is aware that it, like, if she knows enough to try to take herself off gluten and dairy, then she kind of understands that it's like the gut relationship. So
right. I just don't know what I'm trying to dig in a little bit on the Thrive and what it's done for her.
Well, and I can ask those questions too, just because I don't know. I have like a good way of saying it, but also kind of being upfront about it.
Right. Yeah. Because I don't know enough about these companies to say, oh, this is going to happen to you, kind of thing. And I don't want to go there and like scare people. Yeah. I have relation that are doing Thrive and actually did the 5 for 5 Cinemate challenge in our group, and she didn't like it. Boo. But she also just messaged me and she told me that I inspired her to become a health coach. So I don't know. I wish her all the luck.
Like the taste,
she's trying to find herself. You know, her husband's huge, diabetic. She's not in a healthy weight. So whatever I've done that sparked some interest, I hope that she continues that. So just for her own.
So did she just drink 1 day's worth and didn't like it, or what?
I don't know exactly how long. Well, she said to be honest with you, I didn't like the taste. Okay. So I've gotten that twice where people just couldn't do it anymore.
So we need to just be really, 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 really aware that that's going to happen with most people in the beginning. So it's literally a matter of as soon as they say that, you're like, okay, awesome. Well, what we need to do is
how you can
adjust the amount of water. You might want to drink it hot versus cold. You may prefer it in your coffee versus plain. Like, it's really important to really be on the ball with that, because a lot of it too is just mental. Like, people are just like, same thing with people with their kids. They're like, oh, my kid won't drink that. I'm like, they will. Like, but how are you presenting it? Are you forcing them to do it, or are you being like, hey, we're going to do this together, like, this is super exciting, it's going to be so good for your brain and your tummy? Like, you know, it's just kind of it just is, and it's pure plant. If she's taking Thrive, she's, you know, like, they're, you know how it is when they're drinking stuff that's completely sugar and all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, Botox poisoning. I just saw that.
I think Lori really.
Yes.
Her sister-in-law is dealing with Botox poisoning.
Can you guys hear me? I'm new to this, so I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yep.
Yes. My sister-in-law is having the worst time since she had her second shot of Botox around kind of in, like, behind her ear. Like, she had several injections. It was her second time for TMJ. And we think because she's predisposed, her family has cancer, inflammatory tendencies, I think it went central and her body just spiraled into this just crazy land. My brother actually found a recent study of people who this has happened to, and the medical community completely disregards that this is even a thing, and so they have very little help in this regard in helping her recover, and it literally has covered every aspect.
Into a nerve. Did she get it done at the dentist?
Yes.
At the oral surgeon?
The thing is once you needle it in, it can pick up and settle anywhere in the body, and it's such a toxin that it's almost impossible to get it removed. Like, it settles and it just keeps recycling. Like, she'll have high trigger symptoms, they'll abate, and then it cycles back out of her liver. She can't get it out of her liver.
But it also goes through the kidneys because it's a venom, correct?
Yes, yes.
So I remember working with my mentor. Anytime you get bitten or stung, always work on your kidneys. So for that, it would be like plenty of Vital, because you're filtering the blood. You're cleaning the blood, so it doesn't keep triggering as it cycles through that liver and through those kidneys. It's going through her kidneys more so, though. Usually anything we ingest orally goes through our liver, but anything we're stung or it goes through our skin, stuff goes through our kidneys, through that blood filtering organ.
what she found to be really true too is whatever she's trying to take to help her recover from this, her body is super sensitive to. So very reactive to, which reacts her into migraines and anxiety.
What is she
and
taking?
really very little. She's seeing a naturopath, Dr. Gilbert, who has her on charcoal only, like half a pill a day. Enough, like nothing.
Well, the thing too, charcoal can be very constipating. And I can tell you, as someone who used to suffer with migraines, if her bowel is not moving,
Right.
she is going to be just a stagnant mess and miserable.
Yeah.
You know, which obviously she is. But even taking the vital, she needs to get the bowel working, because
Mhm.
she's going to be breaking that stuff down, and it's got to exit.
So she might need
timely.
Fast Track. And what about Omnitox?
I would probably do both. I would probably start on the weekend and do a fast track first, get the bowel moving, and then I would add the Omnitox and a little bit of fiber, even if it's just half a scoop, because she wants to bulk that bowel up, get it to exercise. It's like resistance training for the bowel. When you give
Okay.
it something in there to bulk it up, it has something to push against, and that helps build and tone up that peristalsis in the bowel. But when she gets things going, she should feel a big difference. It may take her a little while.
Yeah.
So,
And she has promised me, I just literally sat down with her and I had the Omnitox, I had the Vital, I had ProBio. I also brought over the Calm oil with the lotion.
Yeah.
And, you know, trying to get her, and she was going to go see the naturopath the next day, who tests this on her tongue to see if it strengthens her or weakens her, that whole thing. And because she was really leery in starting her, she wants to start her on the charcoal only. And then the next visit.
She's reacting to the charcoal. Why is she using charcoal?
I know. And it is. It's so hard. I'm trying to be so patient.
Not doing anything else if it doesn't get out.
I
And
know.
the other thing is she's like, I react hard. Like, if you give me Benadryl, it's like I'm on a CID.
Right.
So her body's just very aware. I would be very interested to know, like, has she been on other medication? You know what I'm saying? Like, I
well,
feel like
that's the funny. Right. Well, that's the funny thing is when she hits a migraine hits, because she'll hit a couple really bad days. She'll have a couple good days, and then her bad days, she goes right to like Tylenol or Advil. Like, but just take the Flex PI. That's like, I brought that over too instead of the Tylenol, and I can't get her to do it. Why don't you
ask her if she'll talk to me or one of us, just because it's not, you're giving her all of the right tools, but she just doesn't want to hear it.
Right. She did promise me the next visit they're going to test Vital on her, and she's going to start on Vital. The upside, I have my brother on the Vital. My brother is like a nervous wreck. He's so uptight about all this, and I'm like, Tim, can you please at least take the Vital if April's not? So I think it's going to be slow going, but Kristen did say that maybe we could do a talk with her.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk to her, just because. Okay. And only like Kristen too was seeing the one doctor, and she started taking Soul, and then.
Well, that's why I'm kind of laughing in the background here, because
I know.
I love naturopaths, but sometimes like they only know what they know, you know?
Well, it's only as good as the product that you can find.
Well, and the products that my naturopath put me on they just weren't high quality. And so I'm sitting here thinking, like, I get where she's coming from, because I did the same thing. Like, I bought all the products from my naturopath. And then Soul came into the picture, and I'm like, well, I can't stop taking this stuff because he said I had to take it. But then I'm going to take this stuff, and then my body went into full freak out mode, you know, and it's hard to know who to trust.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Saying with, you know, if we could have a conversation with her, and if it wasn't coming from you and maybe from someone else,
yeah,
40, she might listen. But
that is, yeah.
question: how many? I was saying vital as well, but I was saying to like pump that in her system as much as you can. Is 3 what you were thinking?
Are you talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
She can do several. The thing is, if her bowel is not working and she breaks down those toxins, she will feel worse. That's how important it is, you know, to go out the exit door, so to
She
speak.
did say that she does move her bowel once a day, because we did
That's
talk about that.
nothing.
That's not enough. 3 trains in, 3 trains out, man. If you're not,
Okay.
And so many people, if they'll start doing 2 a day, I throw my hands in the air and say, that's so great.
Right.
We're going in the right direction. Yeah.
Okay.
a lot about
Yeah.
poop.
Yeah. That's all about.
So you would say start with the fast track.
I know. I'm just wondering. Okay.
Well, I'm all for her start, but if she's already having migraines and they're giving her charcoal, which I don't even know if it's activated or just what, but she needs to get that bowel, because that charcoal can be a binder. It can
Mhm.
bind things, and then she's worse off than she was, because
No, that's
everything else she's ingesting and breathing and thinking and feeling is not getting through.
Yeah, and once people, like, I know people that were like wrecked by migraines for their entire life, and literally days on Soul, you know, and now they haven't ever had a migraine since.
Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah.
just see
But-
if she'll talk. We can do
Okay.
a 2-way chat and just
Yeah.
say, like, Steph's a gut health specialist, you know, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Steph, maybe we can talk in the Kristen, maybe we can talk in the morning more about it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, it's
Breakfast
not,
date.
and that's a really huge thing that I love, you know, you guys, none of my friends or family are taking Soul, none of them. Like, they don't want to hear it from us. It's
I'm trying to be so patient, and when she tells me, I'm just trying to be careful. And the one thing she keeps throwing back at me is, well, each one of your products, there's so many different adaptogens in each one, like in Vital. There's so many of those good things, but that is a bad thing to her. She's like, well, what if I react to something? How do I know what I'm reacting to? And like some of these things, I don't know.
so you don't tend to react to peer. Or just say, hey, what if 7 things went better in your body?
That's right. There you go.
Yeah.
See why you're so much better at this?
Well, it just is, honestly, people don't want to hear it from us. And it's just how it is. It's not, I mean, you literally said exactly all of the right things. Omnitox, Fast Track, Vital, like, that's exactly what I would say too. But if I was telling my friend or family, they wouldn't take it.
Well, I'm going to keep at it. Like, we're
Yeah.
going to keep having conversations, and
Yeah.
something will break through.
Yeah. And just put her in with us. Just be like,
Okay.
hey, you know,
Sounds good.
you could
And
even
we'll keep
say, like,
praying
I
for
was
her.
talking. Yeah, we'll pray for sure. And just
Yeah.
say, hey, we were chatting about it last night. You can, like Kristen's too. I
Okay.
forget even how it came up, but Kristen was like, well, yeah, once I'm done. It was like one day she was like, well, once I'm done with these other things. And I was like, what other things? She's like, well, I have all the things from my naturopath. And I was like, wait a minute.
What?
Yeah, and I was like,
Yeah.
see the labels. And again, it is so important, but it's only as good as the product you can find.
Yeah.
You know, so
I was like literally taking like 20 some capsules, and then I ordered Vital, Cinemate, Adaptable, and
Maca, I think.
no, Maca was second. Can't remember what I ordered. I don't know. And I was like, I feel kind of crazy. I don't feel so good. And she's like, well, let's talk about it. She's like, what are you taking? I'm like, well, I'm taking these through my naturopath and this and this. And she's like, whoa. You don't know.
Wait a minute,
So I have some compassion on her because I totally was the same way.
And,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is you want to, especially, I mean, the good thing is that she, believes in this,
Mhm.
that's good.
And I was going to mention, even AJ can test himself, right?
AJ does. I was going to say,
You can teach her how to test herself.
Mhm.
Kristen and I talked about that too.
Yeah.
She's
And that sway test is so easy,
okay.
if they can just be quiet for a second, even, if you can do it at 5, you can do it.
you should have seen my son. It really flipped him out. Like, because you don't tell him what's going to happen, right?
No, and you don't tell her what's going to happen. Just let her
So
go.
what happens if you have someone who doesn't move either way? Because my neighbor's son has Asperger's.
Well, yeah. They're what is it? They're you can be what are they?
Well, they're high.
You cannot be testable sometimes, and so you have to. What do you call? It's like you're left and right. It's like you're off.
Oh, right. I know
Your
what you're
energy
talking about.
fields or your. But
you're
go ahead.
They're switched, or like they're hyper.
Something. So what you do is you go and you can do where you knee up and you put your right to your left knee and you cross over and you do that it's getting your energy fields back in sync, so to speak.
Wait,
and
how do
there's
you do that?
a name for it.
What do you do?
When I go to PDTR, all of my stuff is switched, and I have to look at lines that are crossed. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you bring your left knee up and do, but it's kind of like doing a walking exercise. But like whenever I muscle test someone, even if I don't touch them, it's like one of the first questions I ask, not them, but through the process is, are they testable? Because if they're out of sync, whatever the terminology is that's not coming to me right now, you have to work on something or or it could be me.
Yeah.
It's out of sync. It's an energy feedback.
Sometimes I don't move at all.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a matter of that I have to start being like, would I benefit most from 2? Would it, like, maybe it's not. Because maybe if you're asking, it's assuming like 1 vital or 1 maca. So for me, sometimes I have to be like, okay, like if I tend to know like what I feel like I need, but then I have to be like,
And I think that comes as an attunement as you learn more about yourself and how you feel. When I go to get capsules, I know before I empty how many I need. It comes, and I know that's, to some people that might sound insane, but as I hear myself say it, I go, they probably think you're crazy.
No, because we feel the same way. There's some times where like something, like I'm doing the balance package and I'm supposed to be drinking like the Renew, and I think about it, I'm like, no, I don't really want it. And then I'll muscle test myself and then we'll say no.
Yeah.
No.
It's so cool. But also like when you do talk to your people about it, in the beginning, they do think it's crazy that I tell them that too. And then they're like, oh my gosh, you know what? I actually, and this is like a week in sometimes, they're like, I actually really like could tell that I just needed another vital, or, oh my gosh, it's so
and isn't it great when they start learning to listen to their body? Because some people just breeze through and don't even know what's going on, And I always congratulate them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're listening to your body. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the reason why we go this route, right? It's like people are way more in tune with their bodies than they know, because when they go to a traditional doctor or specialist, they're told they're wrong, right? I can tell that gets me fired up, but anyways. Yay. All right, ladies. Well, I am going to still do my power hour, so I'm going to hop off, but thank you all for being here. I'm super proud of you guys. We will come up with something by tomorrow. Actually, Amanda Pratt is going to make us a Google something or other. I don't know how she does it, but so that we can track, and we'll do some sort of cool thing for people that are doing their CRM 5 times a week. And then also we can chat about doing the Cinemate challenge. Do we want to do that?
We should probably like actually decide that now so people can
Yeah.
put their order
Let's,
tomorrow.
yep. Let's post about it like either tonight or in the morning. And then we could even,
Well, we can't tomorrow morning because most people's orders go out like first thing tomorrow.
yeah.
So if you guys are going to do the Cinemate challenge with us, you'll have to change your auto ship to have the Cinemate tonight.
I just feel like not everybody's is on the first either way.
Yeah, but for those who, like my whole team, I always train them to
Yeah.
goes out on the first, so make sure we tell them right away.
So should we just do we want to just do a post real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because either way, they still, let's
You
just
could
do the
order
post
it.
now. They could even at least call, like if they didn't see the post tonight, we could, let's just do it, put it in Legacy chat quick, and then in the team page.
Yeah, and then as for like a date, I'm thinking we'll run it the 15th.
The what?
Well, if they order it tomorrow, they'll get it like Friday. Then they need like some time to ship it out. Start at the 15th.
Yeah, except for, yes. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong month. I was like, not on a Saturday. Yeah, the 15th is perfect.
Awesome sauce.
Because then we still have a week and a half to get orders in after. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Yay! All right, everybody. Thanks for getting on.
Thank you.
See you later.
Go hard for October 1st. Way to end the month, you guys.
Say bye, Autumn.
Bye.
Bye, pretty girl. Have a good week at school.